Escapers is an innovative project that aims to combine game-based learning tools with immersive and intergenerational activities, fostering social inclusion among seniors. With the help of escape and mystery games, Escapers focuses on bringing seniors out of isolation, enhancing their digital skills, and empowering them to share their valuable memories with younger generations in order to preserve local cultural heritage. With partners from Greece, Ireland, Italy, and Spain, the project also aims to strengthen the skills of adult educators and professionals while engaging a diverse range of participants. Ultimately, the Escapers project envisions a future where seniors are valued for their wisdom and contributions to society, and where different generations come together to learn, reconnect, and create profound experiences. It is known that the world's population is undergoing a significant demographic shift. It is aging at an unprecedented rate. Europe is no exception to that, and this trend is projected to continue, with the global population over 65 expected to double by 2050. A significant portion of Europe's elderly population is disconnected from community and social networks. Social isolation and loneliness among older people are increasingly recognized as major public health issues. With longer lifespans, there is a growing need for innovative intergenerational practices that actively and engagingly involve both seniors and younger generations. Last but not least, in our digitized world, seniors often experience a digital divide gap. This may lead to feelings of isolation, exclusion, and difficulty accessing essential services for seniors who lack digital skills or access. For all the aforementioned reasons, it is significant to assist senior citizens towards a healthy aging lifestyle by educating themselves, promoting their social inclusion, and minimizing any divides. The objectives of the Escapers project are the following: promoting intergenerational game-based learning opportunities, fostering social inclusion of seniors and bringing them out of isolation, enhancing lifelong learning and highlighting the social value of seniors by transferring their memories to younger generations, preserving European cultural heritage across generations, empowering seniors' digital skills, activating young people in civic engagement, strengthening related skills of adult educators and relevant professionals, challenging negative perceptions of aging among young adults, promoting gender equality throughout the life course, fostering new ideas and approaches in aging by illuminating opportunities for improvement and highlighting the value of intergenerational partnerships. The Escapers project will achieve these objectives by creating the three following things. First, the Escapers Methodological Guide, a comprehensive guide outlining the project's methodology for promoting intergenerational game-based learning opportunities and social inclusion. Second, the Escapers Games, 5 engaging escape mystery games designed to foster intergenerational learning and promote social inclusion among seniors. And third, Escapers Local Labs Guide, a practical guide for setting up and managing Escapers local labs, facilitating community engagement and knowledge sharing. During this presentation, we will specifically focus on the first two and the connections between them. This guide aims to raise awareness of intergenerational learning activities and game-based solutions for promoting inclusion of senior citizens. Moreover, it contains the methodology to be applied in the project and will be a future reference for any adult educator that would like to implement relevant activities. The idea behind the Escapers project is built upon the success of a past national project called Mystery in Nursing Home, implemented in 2019-2020. In this previous project, Chaledu collaborated with 4 nursing homes for seniors and through a series of memory workshops, they created the mystery games which were based on the seniors' recollections. Later, over 1,500 students visited these nursing homes, interacting with the senior citizens in order to solve riddles and learn about Greek historical events through the seniors' shared stories. The positive impact of this project inspired Xanadu to create the Escapers Partnership, and by using part of its successful methodology as a pillar, take the combination of game-based learning tools and intergenerational activities one step further. The main educational tool for the Escapers project will be the tailor-made escape and mystery games that we co-created with the seniors. But before we dive into details about the steps of the creation, let's see what an escape game actually is. Based on the definition, an escape game is an interactive adventure where players are placed in a fictional setting and must solve a series of puzzles to escape before time runs out. These games can be played in a variety of locations, either indoors or outdoors, such as parks, city streets, or abandoned buildings. There are no restrictions on where escape games can be held, and they can be designed for solo play or for teams. An escape game is a unique gaming experience which offers an engaging environment for intergenerational learning as well. This exciting activity can bring together people of different ages to work together as a team, solve puzzles, and ultimately create lasting memories. Following the methodology, the work plan for the escape mystery games was divided into 4 steps. First, the co-creation of the memory workshops and the brief scenario ideas based on the seniors' personal shared experiences. Second, designing the 5 intergenerational escape and mystery games. Third, escape mystery games testing and development. Fourth, insights for facilitators, training adult educators on the implementation of these games. So, for the first step of this part of the project, each partner had to conduct 2 memory workshops with at least 4 participants each, using 2 different topics out of the following 10: family, professions, travels, objects, love and relationships, food, folktale and fairy tales, historical incidents, school and friends, and entertainment. The 10 topics were carefully chosen by the Escapers team beforehand, and the participant in each of these workshops should specifically belong in the project's main target group, which is people over 65 years old. To achieve that, some partners recruited people from their own organizations, while others approached existing groups of seniors at care centers in their area. The total number of the participating seniors in this workshop was 28 people. Each memory workshop included various and simple game-based activities, always around the given topic, encouraging the participants to share personal experiences and thoughts in a more natural way without any feeling of pressure, making sure that the environment was welcoming and comfortable for the seniors with plenty of sitting and frequent breaks throughout the ideation process was in our top priorities. During and after the implementation of the co-creation workshops, the facilitators, adult educators, had to fill in certain templates documenting all the stories and experiences shared by senior participants in order to use them later in the game designing process. Along with all the notes, the facilitators were also instructed to write down some initial ideas or suggestions for escape mystery game scenarios and/or riddles stemming from these notes. After the documentation of the co-creation memory workshops was complete, Old Statue Games and Xanadu carefully read the notes and then created 11 brief scenario escape mystery game ideas inspired by the personal stories that the seniors shared, considering locations, situations, obstacles, people and special objects involved, or even feelings. The 11 brief scenario ideas were the following. First, the silenced truth. A new bride mysteriously drowns. Players must uncover the hidden truth by gathering testimonies from women who are willing to break the village's silence. Second, trapped within a digital reality. A failed experiment has trapped volunteers from different countries in a digital realm. Players must cooperate by solving digital riddles to escape. Third, the last hope. After a huge earthquake, people are trapped inside the collapsed building. Players, impersonating firefighters, must race against time to rescue survivors. Fourth, crushing the conspiracy. A corrupt government has staged elections so as to promote harmful policies. Players must uncover secret files and documents to send evidence to the media before time runs out. 5. The equality enigma. Players trapped in an unknown realm need to solve puzzles, discover biases, and expose discriminatory practices that are still prominent in today's society. 6. The abduction. A famous chef has been kidnapped just before a major European cooking contest. Players must find clues and solve puzzles to find him while also understanding the cultural integration through food. 7. Time travelers. A malfunctioning time machine has sent people from different eras in the present era. Players must solve coding and technology-based puzzles to repair the machine and send them back. 8. The Locked Garden. The archives of an NGO in the circular economy have been hacked, and they are in the difficult position of losing funds due to false articles. Players have to unravel the truth. 9. The warning system sabotage. A town's flood warning system has been sabotaged, and weather forecasts announcing that a storm is approaching. Players have to repair the system, restore communication, and ensure the population is warned in time. 10. Operation Free Press. An authoritarian regime has silenced independent media. Players act as part of an underground movement who try to decode secret messages and reveal the truth to the public. 11. The Spooky School. In a village, a long-abandoned school is considered to be haunted. Players must investigate the disappearance of a young girl, uncovering hidden truths about women's rights and breaking down long-standing stereotypes. Consequently, the ideas were presented to all project partners, and then each organization of the project, considering the initial Erasmus Plus program priorities, voted for 5 scenario ideas for future development. These Erasmus Plus program priorities are: first, inclusion and diversity; second, digital transformation; third, environment and fight against climate change; fourth, participation in democratic life, common values, and civic engagement; and 5, gender equality. The idea was to create one game for each of these priorities, defining it as the primary learning objective among others. Thus, the 5 chosen scenarios were fully developed, and the following escape mystery games were created. First, the disappearance. A famous chef has disappeared just before a major European cooking contest. Players must find clues and solve puzzles to find him before the start of the contest, while also understanding the cultural integration through food. Primary learning objective: inclusion and diversity. Difficulty level: 3 out of 5. Second, trapped in virtual reality. The players are a group of experiment volunteers who found themselves trapped in a digital world. Now they have to cooperatively decode an encrypted message through solving riddles and collecting symbols in order to escape. Primary learning objective: digital transformation. Difficulty level: 5 out of 5. Third, The Locked Garden. The archives of an NGO named Green Roots have been hacked and the community's faith has faltered. Now the risk of losing their EU funds is high due to the false articles. Players must restore trust and retrieve the sustainability files before it's too late. Primary learning objective: environment and fight against climate change. Difficulty level 4 out of 5. Fourth, Operation Free Press. An authoritarian regime has silenced independent media. Players act as part of an underground movement who try to decode secret messages and reveal the truth to the public. Primary learning objective: participation in democratic life, common values and civic engagement. Difficulty level 3 out of 5. And fifth, The Missing Girl. A young orphan girl has disappeared. As a group of teenagers, the players must now uncover her untold fears and struggles, and through stereotype and discrimination challenges, find where the girl is located and restore justice. Primary learning objective: gender equality. Difficulty level 2 out of 5. It is worth mentioning that the difficulty levels between the games vary in order to bring more flexibility, covering any potential group's needs. For example, the facilitators might decide to pick a different game to be played due to last-minute changes, affecting the group's dynamics. The next step of this phase of the project was to playtest and refine these games before sharing them with the target audience. So all 5 games were presented, thoroughly tested, and evaluated for the first time during the LTTA in Ireland from the escapers' adult educators themselves. Every one of the 10 individuals who participated in this process, considering their unique expertise, brought their valuable feedback and helped improve the games even more. In addition, Gaiety School of Acting was responsible for presenting to the rest of the educators a variety of ice-breaking activities for the intergenerational group that might be participating in one of these escapers games. These activities are also important and should be carried out right before moving into the gameplay phase, in order to make the participants feel more relaxed and comfortable with the whole process, and of course, to give some time to everyone to get to know each other a little better. During the finalization of the escape mystery games, intergenerational groups will also be involved to test these games, sharing their own insights on any possible unseen difficulties. Involving seniors in the design process is beneficial for various reasons, like creating games that are more inclusive, accessible, engaging, and enjoyable for all age groups. Right after the ice-breaking activities comes the actual game time. In short, the gameplay in Escapers' escape mystery games is the following. Participants typically form 2 to 4 teams of 2 to 3 players each. The facilitators should be responsible for keeping the balance between teams, distributing at least one senior and a younger person in each case. The teams will have to work individually and collaboratively in order to escape or solve all the challenges included within 45 to 50 minutes. The dynamic nature of the gameplay allows for teamwork to evolve as teams adapt their strategies and roles to overcome obstacles and successfully complete the game. The facilitators should always ensure the excitement doesn't end with the final puzzle. They check in with the participants, briefly reflecting on and highlighting the moments of joy and the profoundness of their experience. Last but not least, capturing the day's memories, a celebratory group photo of all the participants together should be taken, just like in an escape room. Following the Methodología's work plan, as soon as the 5 games are finalized, at least 5 training seminars will be conducted, teaching 50 adult educators in total how to properly implement any of these games in the future.